Close your eyes for a little while, and allow the busy thoughts of the day to become lighter. There is nowhere you need to hurry. Nothing asks for your attention except the quiet sound of a story that moves as slowly as the gentle current of the Nile. The air is warm, carrying the dry scent of desert sand mixed with cool river moisture. Somewhere in the distance, reeds whisper together whenever a soft breeze finds them. The stars above ancient Egypt shine without hurry, just as they have for countless nights. Our journey begins before sunrise, when darkness still rests over the land like a light blanket. The villages sleep. Mud-brick homes hold families close together beneath woven linen coverings. Dogs curl into themselves near doorways. Donkeys stand quietly with lowered heads, resting before another day of carrying heavy loads. Even the birds remain silent for a little while longer. In these peaceful hours, before merchants begin calling to one another and before the first ovens fill the streets with the smell of fresh bread, a small number of people are already awake. Their work belongs to the moments between darkness and daylight. They move quietly because the world around them has not yet fully opened its eyes. Among them is a man whose work is easily forgotten by history. He is not a king whose name is carved into giant stone walls. He is not a famous scribe whose careful writing survives for thousands of years. He does not command soldiers or oversee great monuments. Instead, he tends to something much smaller, yet deeply important. He is a lamplighter. His work begins when the stars are still overhead, and often it ends only after the final flame has burned low at night. Most people hardly notice him. They notice only the light that appears where darkness had been. He lives in a modest mud-brick house not far from one of the temple districts. The walls are thick enough to soften the afternoon heat, though they never keep it away completely. During summer, warm air lingers inside long after sunset. A woven sleeping mat covers the floor, and beside it rests a folded piece of linen that serves as both blanket and pillow. His family still sleeps. Their breathing is slow and steady. Outside, the night insects continue their quiet songs. The lamplighter opens his eyes before anyone calls his name. Years of repeating the same routine have become stronger than any alarm. His body simply knows when it is time to rise. He sits for a few moments without speaking. There is no rush. His feet touch the cool packed earth floor. For a brief moment, before the day grows hot, the earth beneath him still remembers the cooler hours of the night. He stretches slowly, feeling yesterday's work in his shoulders and knees. Walking many miles through stone streets while carrying jars of oil leaves its own quiet mark upon the body. Nothing hurts sharply anymore. Instead, everything feels gently tired. His wife sleeps beside the youngest child. Another child has rolled close to the doorway during the night, wrapped loosely in linen. The lamplighter smiles softly without making a sound. He has seen them sleeping like this hundreds of mornings. Near the wall sits a small clay jar containing yesterday's drinking water. He lifts it carefully and takes only a few slow mouthfuls. The water is cool enough to feel refreshing. Soon the heat will warm every jar in the neighborhood. He steps outside. The sky is still deep blue, though the eastern horizon carries the faintest hint of pale gray. The village seems almost frozen. No voices. No carts. No laughter. Only distant frogs along the river and the gentle rustle of palm leaves. He slips on his simple leather sandals, already worn smooth from years of walking. Fine dust settles immediately around his feet. Even at night, Egypt is never completely free from dust. The desert sends tiny grains into every corner of daily life. He begins walking toward the storage building where temple oil is kept. His pace is slow but steady. He has no reason to hurry. The lamps will not light themselves, but neither will the sunrise arrive before its own proper time. The streets are narrow. Mud-brick homes stand close together, their flat roofs connected by ladders and simple stairways. Some families sleep upon those rooftops during the hottest months, hoping for cooler night air. Blankets rise and fall gently with sleeping breaths. The lamplighter passes without disturbing anyone. He knows nearly every doorway. He knows which family keeps goats. He knows which baker rises first. He knows where children often leave their sandals scattered after sunset. His life has become a map made not from lines drawn on papyrus but from footsteps repeated every day. As he reaches the temple district, the buildings grow larger. Stone replaces mud brick. Massive columns disappear into darkness overhead. Even without daylight, the temple feels enormous. Its walls seem to gather the night around themselves. At the entrance waits another worker, older than the lamplighter by perhaps 20 years. They greet each other with quiet nods instead of many words. Morning conversations are short. There will be plenty of hours later for speaking. Together they unlock the small storage room. Inside, rows of clay jars stand neatly arranged. Some contain fresh oil pressed from flax seeds. Others hold animal fat used for certain lamps. Bundles of twisted linen wicks rest upon wooden shelves. The smell inside the room is gentle but unmistakable. Oil. Clay. Old smoke. Warm stone. Everything here carries the memory of countless evenings. The lamplighter checks each jar carefully. A cracked vessel could waste precious oil. Nothing can be taken for granted. He lifts one jar. It is heavier than yesterday. Good. Enough remains for today's work. He places the jar into a woven carrying frame that rests across his shoulders. Another smaller basket holds replacement wicks, cleaning cloths, and simple tools carved from wood and bronze. The load is familiar. Heavy enough to notice. Not heavy enough to stop him. The temple corridors remain dim. Yesterday's lamps have nearly burned themselves empty. Some produce only tiny orange points. Others have already surrendered to darkness. One by one, he begins his quiet work. He removes each burned wick. He wipes soot from shallow stone lamps. He pours fresh oil with steady hands that rarely spill a single drop. He twists new linen into place. Finally, using a small ember protected inside a clay container, he coaxes fresh flames into life. One light. Then another. Then another. Each lamp wakes gently. Soft golden circles appear upon carved walls. Hieroglyphs emerge from darkness. Painted figures become visible once again. Shadows retreat without complaint. The temple does not suddenly become bright. Instead, it slowly remembers its shape. The lamplighter watches each flame for a few moments. A wick trimmed too high burns quickly. Too low, and it struggles. Years of experience have taught him to recognize balance with only a glance. Nearby, priests begin arriving. They wash quietly before morning rituals. None of them could perform their earliest duties comfortably without these small lights waiting for them. Most simply nod in thanks. Some say nothing at all. The lamplighter does not mind. His reward is not praise. His reward is seeing darkness slowly become gentle light. Outside, dawn finally begins touching the highest stone walls. Birdsong grows stronger. The sky shifts from blue to soft pink. Far beyond the temple, farmers prepare oxen for another day in the fields. Fishermen untie boats resting along the riverbanks. Women begin grinding grain between heavy stones. Smoke rises from cooking fires. The whole land awakens little by little. The lamplighter continues moving through long corridors. Every chamber follows the same careful rhythm. Empty. Clean. Fill. Trim. Light. Watch. Move forward. The work seems simple. Yet it demands patience. A careless hand can waste valuable oil. A crooked wick may fill an entire room with smoke. A forgotten lamp leaves someone working in unnecessary darkness. By the time sunlight enters the outer courtyards, much of his first round has finished. He steps outside carrying empty oil jars that now feel much lighter. The warmth of the morning sun settles upon his shoulders. Already the air has changed. Coolness fades. Heat quietly takes its place. Servants sweep stone floors with reed brooms. Young apprentices carry baskets of bread. Temple cats stretch lazily before searching for mice. Every person moves according to routines learned over many years. No one needs instructions. The day simply unfolds as it always has. The lamplighter sits beneath the narrow shade of a sycamore tree for a short rest. He unwraps a simple breakfast from linen cloth. A small loaf of coarse bread. A few onions. Perhaps a handful of dried dates if the harvest has been generous. Nothing fancy. Nothing wasted. He eats slowly. The bread is firm enough to require careful chewing. He drinks another mouthful of water. Nearby, pigeons peck quietly at scattered grain. A breeze from the Nile briefly softens the growing heat. For only a few minutes, everything feels perfectly still. Soon he will begin another walk through streets growing steadily busier. Some lamps outside the temple must also be checked. Certain workshops use small oil lamps even during daylight where sunlight cannot easily reach. Storerooms. Covered passages. Windowless rooms. Dark corners where careful hands continue working. He rises once more. The sandals return to dusty roads. Children now run laughing between houses. Potters shape wet clay upon spinning wheels. Weavers pull threads across wooden looms with patient rhythm. Stonemasons chip carefully at blocks destined for future buildings. Everywhere there is work. Not hurried. Simply constant. The lamplighter walks among them almost unnoticed. That has always been enough. He knows that by evening, when shadows begin growing longer once again, his quiet work will become even more important. But for now, the gentle light of morning spreads across the land, and another ordinary day in ancient Egypt has only just begun. The morning continues to unfold with the same quiet certainty that has guided countless days along the Nile. Nothing arrives all at once. The light grows stronger little by little, warming the stone beneath every sandal and brightening the painted walls of homes and temples. The lamplighter walks without haste, following streets that have become as familiar to him as the lines upon his own hands. Dust rises gently beneath each step. It never truly leaves these roads. Even after a cool night, the fine sand waits patiently for the first travelers of the day. Soon carts pulled by donkeys will stir it higher into the air, but for now it hangs close to the ground, glowing softly in the morning sun. The city is awake, though not yet loud. Women kneel beside low grinding stones, turning grain into flour with slow, practiced movements. The steady scrape of stone against stone becomes part of the morning itself. Nearby, a baker feeds pieces of dry wood into a clay oven. A warm smell begins to spread through the narrow streets. Bread has always been one of the first scents to greet the day. The lamplighter breathes it in without stopping. He knows the baker well enough to exchange a quiet smile, though neither of them pauses for conversation. Both have work waiting. The baker's hands shape dough. The lamplighter's hands tend to flame. Each depends on careful attention. Each repeats nearly the same motions every day. Farther ahead, a group of fishermen return from the river much earlier than many people realize. They prefer the cooler hours before the sun grows fierce. Their small boats slide quietly against the muddy banks while woven baskets filled with fresh fish are lifted onto waiting shoulders. Their nets glisten with droplets that catch the sunlight for only a few moments before drying in the warmth. The smell of wet reeds, river mud, and fresh fish drifts gently through the air. A young boy runs beside his father, carrying only a small basket. His steps are eager, though he tries hard to match the slower pace of the older man. The father laughs softly and shortens his stride. The lamplighter watches them pass. He remembers when his own children were small enough to hurry after him in much the same way. There were mornings when his son begged to carry the basket of fresh wicks. The basket seemed light enough to a child who wished to help, though after only a short distance the weight became more than expected. His son would smile anyway. The lamplighter would quietly take the basket back without making the child feel embarrassed. Those memories return often during long walks. Not because they are unusual. Simply because slow work leaves room for quiet thoughts. He reaches a narrow workshop built of mud brick with a roof supported by thick wooden beams. Inside, the room remains dim even though the sun has fully risen outside. The single doorway allows only a little light to enter. A bronze worker is already at his bench. Small tools lie carefully arranged across a low table. Tiny bowls hold pieces of copper and tin waiting to become something useful. The air smells faintly of charcoal left from yesterday's fire. The craftsman nods as the lamplighter enters. Without many words, the lamplighter kneels beside a small clay lamp resting near the workbench. Yesterday's oil has nearly disappeared. The wick has curled inward, blackened from many hours of burning. With practiced fingers, he removes the old wick. He wipes away the thin layer of soot that has gathered around the edge. Fresh oil flows carefully into the lamp. Not too much. Never enough to spill. He twists a clean linen wick between his fingertips until it sits exactly where experience tells him it should. The bronze worker watches quietly. He has seen this same careful routine hundreds of times. Neither man grows tired of it. The lamp is not lit now. Daylight, though limited, is enough. But by afternoon, when shadows deepen inside the workshop, a single flame will help tired eyes continue their careful work. The lamplighter leaves as quietly as he arrived. Outside, the sun climbs steadily higher. Its warmth settles across every rooftop. Palm leaves barely move. The breeze from the Nile has become gentler now, saving most of its coolness for evening. Children carry water jars between homes. Their bare feet know every uneven stone. Some laugh. Some concentrate carefully, hoping not to spill even a little water. Water is never treated carelessly. Every drop has traveled far. The lamplighter passes a public well where several women have gathered. They speak softly while waiting their turn. Their conversation drifts gently through the morning air like birds moving across the sky. No one speaks loudly. There is no need. The rhythm of daily life has its own peaceful volume. A donkey shifts its weight nearby. Its load consists of woven baskets filled with onions and garlic freshly harvested from nearby fields. The animal flicks its ears lazily at flies. Its owner pauses beneath the shade of an acacia tree for a short rest before continuing toward the marketplace. The lamplighter walks farther into the district where scribes work. Here the sounds are different. Instead of grinding grain or shaping clay, there is the gentle scratch of reed pens across smooth sheets of papyrus. Inside one long room, several scribes sit cross-legged upon woven mats. Small wooden pallets hold black and red ink. Water jars stand nearby to keep the ink usable throughout the day. Each scribe bends carefully over his work. Records must be neat. Numbers must be exact. Names must be written clearly. Mistakes require precious time to correct. Light matters here. Although windows have been placed high upon the walls, they allow only narrow beams of sunlight to enter. The lamplighter examines each oil lamp resting along the room's edges. Some still hold enough oil. Others need attention. He moves quietly so the scribes may continue writing without interruption. His hands know their work so well that he hardly needs to think about each movement. Lift. Inspect. Pour. Trim. Replace. Move on. The rhythm itself becomes almost like breathing. One of the younger scribes pauses to stretch his fingers. Writing for many hours makes even strong hands feel stiff. He watches the lamplighter for a moment. "I wonder," the young scribe says softly, "if anyone notices how many lamps you tend in a single day." The lamplighter smiles. "I notice." The scribe returns the smile. "So do I." Nothing more needs to be said. The lamplighter continues his rounds. Outside again, the marketplace has grown busier. Merchants arrange baskets filled with figs, lentils, beans, onions, and fresh herbs. Potters display rows of carefully fired jars. Weavers hang folded linen cloth where customers can touch its smooth surface. Goats wander carefully around the edges of the crowd, searching hopefully for fallen leaves. The air carries many familiar smells. Fresh bread. Warm dust. Dry reeds. Clay. Cooked lentils. A hint of smoke from charcoal fires. Everything blends into the scent of ordinary life. A traveler arriving from another land might notice each smell separately. The lamplighter notices only when one is missing. Routine has taught him what belongs. He pauses beside a merchant selling small clay lamps. They vary in shape. Some are plain. Others carry simple carved designs around their edges. The merchant lifts one proudly. "This one burns longer," he says. The lamplighter turns it over gently in his hands. The clay feels well fired. The opening is narrow enough to protect the flame from drafts. He nods with quiet approval. It will serve someone well. The merchant smiles. Praise from a man who spends every day among lamps carries quiet value. He returns the lamp carefully to the table. There is no need to buy one. The temple provides what he needs. Still, he enjoys seeing good workmanship. He understands what it means to create something that must perform the same task faithfully every day. By now the sun stands high overhead. The shade beneath buildings grows shorter. Workers begin slowing their pace without even realizing it. Heat asks everyone to move more gently. Sweat darkens linen clothing. Water jars become more valuable with every passing hour. The lamplighter finds a shaded courtyard beside a stone wall. Several other workers have gathered there. A carpenter. A porter. A basket maker. A young servant carrying folded linen. None of them speak very much. The heat itself encourages silence. Each unwraps a simple midday meal. Bread once again. Perhaps dried fish. A handful of beans. Maybe a piece of cucumber if one has been saved from the morning market. The lamplighter breaks his loaf slowly. Crumbs fall onto the dusty ground. Small birds appear almost immediately, hopping closer with cautious confidence. The workers watch them without chasing them away. The birds have learned this daily pattern just as surely as the people have. A carpenter leans back against the wall. "My hands feel older every summer," he says quietly. The basket maker nods. The sun remembers all of us. No one argues. The words drift away like warm air. After eating, the workers rest without sleeping. Closing one's eyes for a few moments beneath shade can restore enough strength for the long afternoon ahead. The lamplighter listens. A distant hammer taps stone. Somewhere a child laughs. Palm leaves rustle softly. A dove calls from a nearby rooftop. The sounds never hurry. Even the city seems to understand that the hottest hours belong to slower movements. When the shadow beside him begins growing just a little longer, he rises once more. His basket feels lighter now. Several oil jars have already been emptied into waiting lamps. Soon he will return to the temple storeroom to refill them before evening arrives. For the busiest part of his day still waits ahead. As the afternoon stretches gently across the ancient city, every shadow grows a little longer than before, quietly preparing for the moment when the lamplighter's careful hands will once again bring warm circles of golden light into the gathering dusk. The afternoon settles over the land with a gentle weight. The bright light of midday begins to soften, though the warmth still lingers in every stone, every wall, and every dusty path. The air shimmers above open ground, and even the palm trees seem content to stand quietly beneath the wide Egyptian sky. Nothing rushes through these hours. The sun moves patiently, and the people beneath it have long learned to move with the same patient rhythm. The lamplighter leaves the shaded courtyard and begins the familiar walk back toward the temple. His sandals press lightly into the dusty road. The leather has grown soft over many years, shaped by thousands upon thousands of careful steps. He could almost follow this route with his eyes closed. Every bend in the road, every worn doorway, every uneven stone has become part of his memory. Children who had spent the morning helping their families now rest beneath patches of shade. Some lean against cool mud-brick walls. Others lie quietly beside sleeping dogs. Their laughter has become softer now, slowed by the heat that hangs over the city. A mother fans her sleeping baby with woven reeds. An elderly man sits beneath a sycamore tree, mending a fishing net that has served him through many seasons. Two young women carry jars of water balanced steadily upon their heads, walking with such practiced grace that barely a drop escapes. The lamplighter nods politely as they pass. They return the greeting with gentle smiles before continuing toward their homes. Life here is built from small kindnesses. Most people know one another, at least by sight. They know who bakes bread before sunrise. They know which fisherman returns earliest from the river. They know which potter shapes the strongest storage jars. And they know the quiet man who carries oil instead of grain. As he approaches the temple district once again, the towering stone walls offer a little relief from the afternoon sun. The shade they cast is long and cool compared to the streets outside. A breeze slips through the great entrance between the columns, carrying the faint scent of limestone, old incense, and cool stone that has stood through countless summers. Inside, the temple feels different from the busy city beyond its gates. The sounds become softer. Footsteps echo gently. Voices remain low. The thick stone seems to encourage quiet. The lamplighter enters the storage room once more. The rows of clay jars stand where he left them that morning. He chooses another jar of fresh oil, lifting it carefully with both hands. The weight settles comfortably across his shoulders. He has carried jars like this for so many years that his body leans almost without thinking, balancing each step naturally. Nearby, another worker counts bundles of fresh linen wicks. Each bundle has been twisted by skilled hands into even lengths. The fibers are smooth and tightly woven. Good wicks burn steadily. Poor ones smoke too much or disappear too quickly. Small details matter. In a place where every drop of oil must last, nothing is considered too small to deserve care. The lamplighter pauses to examine several bundles. He rolls one gently between his fingers. The linen feels firm. It will draw oil evenly. He nods with quiet satisfaction. Outside the storage room, a young apprentice waits with a broom. The boy cannot be more than 12 years old. His work is simple. He sweeps dust from the stone corridors before evening visitors arrive. The boy watches the lamplighter with quiet curiosity. "You always carry the heavy jars yourself," he says. The lamplighter smiles. "They become lighter each time I empty one." The apprentice laughs softly. "I hope that is true." "It is." The boy thinks about the answer for a moment before returning to his sweeping. Perhaps one day he too will spend years repeating a single task until it feels as natural as breathing. Every worker begins somewhere. Every skill grows slowly. The lamplighter remembers his own first season. His teacher had been an older man with patient hands and very few words. The old lamplighter had never hurried. Even when young assistants tried to finish quickly, he would quietly stop them. "A flame," he once said, "does not like to be rushed." Those words remained long after the teacher himself was gone. The lamplighter still remembers watching him trim wicks with careful fingers. Each movement seemed almost effortless. Only after many years did the younger man understand how much practice hid inside that effortless motion. Experience often appears simple. Only those who repeat the work understand how much time lives inside every careful habit. He begins another slow journey through the temple halls. Although daylight still enters the outer courtyards, the inner chambers have already begun to dim. Thick walls keep away much of the afternoon sun. Small windows placed high above allow only narrow ribbons of light to reach the stone floors. Here, lamps become useful long before sunset. One by one, he inspects them. Some still burn gently from the morning. Others have nearly exhausted their oil. A few have gone dark without anyone noticing. He kneels before each one. The familiar scent of warm oil rises gently. He pinches away burned fibers. Fresh linen slides carefully into place. Oil pours in smooth, steady streams. Nothing spills. Nothing is wasted. Soon another small flame appears. Not bright enough to chase every shadow. Only enough to soften the darkness. The walls glow with quiet golden light. Painted figures seem almost alive in the gentle flicker. The carved faces of ancient gods remain calm and watchful. Columns cast long shadows across polished stone. Dust floating through the air catches the light for only a moment before disappearing once more. The temple breathes slowly. Priests pass through the corridors with measured steps. Some carry bowls filled with flowers. Others bring bread, fruit, or small offerings for the day's ceremonies. Their white linen robes move quietly as they walk. The lamplighter works beside them almost unnoticed. That has never troubled him. His task belongs beside theirs without becoming the center of attention. Light serves everyone equally. It asks for no praise. In one small chamber sits an elderly scribe. His hair has become thin and white. His hands move more slowly now than they once did. Yet his writing remains beautifully steady. The lamp beside him burns low. The lamplighter approaches. Without looking up from his work, the old scribe says quietly, "I knew you would come. You always know." The room grows darker just before you arrive. The lamplighter kneels. It grows brighter afterward. The scribe smiles. So it does. The lamp is cleaned. Fresh oil settles inside. A new wick drinks slowly from the small pool. The flame steadies. The old man returns immediately to his writing. No more words are needed. Outside, the afternoon begins to lean gently toward evening. The light entering the courtyards has changed. It no longer falls straight downward. Instead, it stretches across the stone, painting long bands of gold between the columns. The air cools only slightly, but everyone notices. Workers lift their heads. Birds become more active again. The hardest part of the day's heat has passed. From the temple entrance, the lamplighter can see the city beyond. Smoke rises from hundreds of cooking fires. Families begin preparing the evening meal. The smell reaches him even here. Fresh bread. Stewing lentils. Roasted onions. A little garlic. Sometimes fish from the morning catch. Sometimes beans cooked slowly in clay pots. Simple meals. Meals earned through long hours of labor. He remembers that his own family will soon begin preparing supper. His youngest child likes to help shape bread before it goes into the oven. The loaves rarely become perfectly round. His wife laughs softly each time. The child insists they taste better that way. Perhaps they do. Food often carries more than flavor. It carries the feeling of home. The lamplighter smiles to himself before returning to his work. There are still many lamps waiting. He climbs a narrow stone staircase leading toward an upper passage. The steps have been worn smooth by countless feet over generations. His sandals find each one without hesitation. At the top, the evening breeze reaches him at last. It carries the cool scent of the Nile. Far below, he can see narrow streets beginning to change. Merchants gather unsold goods. Children are called home. Goats wander back toward small courtyards. Donkeys return with lighter loads than they carried that morning. The city slowly exhales after another long day beneath the sun. The sky has become softer now. The deep blue above fades gradually toward pale gold near the western horizon. Soon orange light will touch the tops of the temple columns. Soon shadows will stretch across every road. And when the daylight begins to withdraw from the city, the lamplighter's quiet work will enter its busiest and most peaceful hours, as one gentle flame after another welcomes the coming night. The afternoon slowly gives way to evening. There is no sudden change. The sun does not disappear all at once, and the city does not become quiet in a single moment. Instead, the light softens a little with every passing breath. The bright white of midday fades into warm shades of honey and gold. Long shadows stretch across the streets, reaching farther than they had only an hour before. The lamplighter stands for a moment at the upper passage of the temple. He does not stop because he is tired, although his legs certainly feel the miles he has already walked today. He stops because this is one of his favorite moments. The hour between day and night. The hour when neither light nor darkness has fully claimed the world. From this high place he watches the Nile. The great river reflects the evening sky in gentle colors that change almost too slowly to notice. A fishing boat glides across the calm water. Its rower does not hurry. The small ripples spread outward before slowly disappearing again. Along the riverbank, women rinse woven baskets in the cool water. Children splash their feet in the shallows while older brothers and sisters keep a careful eye on them. A few white birds stand perfectly still, waiting for tiny fish to swim close enough. Nothing seems eager. Everything belongs to the peaceful rhythm of another ordinary evening. The lamplighter breathes deeply. The breeze carries many familiar scents. Cool river water. Fresh mud from the riverbank. Palm leaves. Cooking fires beginning to wake. The sweetness of baking bread. The faint smoke of charcoal. The smell of warm stone slowly giving back the heat it gathered all day beneath the Egyptian sun. He has known these scents since childhood. He could recognize them even with his eyes closed. After another quiet moment, he turns and continues along the upper corridor. Several lamps already wait for him. These lamps serve a different purpose than those inside the deeper temple chambers. As daylight fades, travelers moving through the upper walkways need gentle light beneath the stone roof. Priests carrying offerings must see where they place each careful step. Older workers whose eyesight has grown weaker welcome every small flame. The lamplighter kneels beside the first lamp. Its clay surface has become warm from the afternoon heat. He lifts it gently. A little oil remains. Enough for perhaps another hour. Not enough for the evening ahead. He pours fresh oil with slow, steady hands. The smooth surface of the liquid catches the last sunlight before settling into quiet stillness. A fresh wick replaces the old one. He lights it carefully. The tiny flame leans toward the breeze for only a moment before standing upright once again. Satisfied, he moves to the next lamp. And then the next. Each one receives exactly the same patient care. Years ago, when he was still learning, he believed the work would eventually become boring. Instead, something different happened. The repetition became comforting. His hands learned their own rhythm. His thoughts slowed. He stopped counting the lamps. He stopped wishing to finish more quickly. He simply cared for each one as it came. The work itself became peaceful. Below him, the temple courtyard grows busier for a short while. People who have spent the day working in nearby buildings now pass through on their way home. Some pause briefly for evening prayers. Others deliver small offerings of bread, flowers, or jars of beer brewed from barley. A mother holds her young daughter's hand as they walk together across the smooth stone floor. The little girl notices the lamplighter. She watches him trim a wick with complete attention. Children often find small things fascinating. "What is he doing?" she whispers. Her mother smiles. "He helps the light stay awake." The girl nods very seriously. She continues watching until her mother gently leads her onward. The lamplighter smiles to himself. He likes that explanation. Helping the light stay awake. Perhaps that is exactly what he has done for most of his life. The sun lowers farther. Its golden light enters the temple at a gentler angle now. Columns cast long shadows that reach almost from one side of the courtyard to the other. Stone walls glow warmly before beginning their slow journey toward evening gray. Far beyond the temple, fields beside the Nile welcome returning farmers. The day's labor is ending. Oxen pull empty wooden plows back towards simple shelters. Bundles of reeds rest upon tired shoulders. The farmers walk more slowly now than they did in the morning. Their linen clothing carries dust from the fields. Their feet are sore. Their hands feel rough. Still, there is quiet satisfaction in returning home after honest work. One farmer stops beside the river before entering the village. He kneels and washes the dust from his face. The cool water runs through his fingers before returning to the Nile. Nearby, another man fills a clay jar for his family. Evening light dances across the surface of the water. Dragonflies skim just above it. Reeds sway gently with the breeze. The river has watched generations come and go. Kings have ruled. Children have grown old. Stone temples have risen. Fields have been planted and harvested. Through it all, the Nile has continued its slow journey northward, never asking for attention. The lamplighter often thinks the river understands routine better than anyone. Every day it flows. Every season it rises and falls. Never hurried. Never delayed. Only steady. Back inside the temple, an elderly priest approaches carrying a small basket filled with lotus blossoms. The flowers have begun to close as daylight fades. Their sweet fragrance follows him through the corridor. He pauses beside the lamplighter. You have been walking since before dawn. I have. And you will still be walking after sunset. The lamplighter nods. There will always be another lamp. The priest looks toward the nearest flame. I have noticed something over the years. What is that? You never seem impatient. The lamplighter thinks quietly before answering. I was, once. The priest raises an eyebrow. When I was young, I wanted every task to finish quickly. And now? Now I know that tomorrow will bring the same work. The priest smiles. So there is no reason to race today. No. The old priest nods with quiet understanding. Many years have taught both men nearly the same lesson. Some work cannot be hurried. Some days are meant simply to be lived. The priest continues on his way. The lamplighter returns to the waiting lamps. One corridor leads into another. Another staircase. Another chamber. Another quiet flame waiting for fresh oil. Outside, the city changes almost without anyone noticing. Marketplace voices become fewer. Wooden stalls are folded away until morning. Goats settle into small courtyards. Donkeys lower themselves carefully onto the ground for the night. Potters cover unfinished clay with damp cloths. Carpenters place tools inside simple wooden chests. Weavers tie loose threads before leaving their looms. The day's work gently folds itself away. Cooking fires now burn steadily across the city. Smoke rises in thin blue lines into the evening sky. Families gather together. Simple meals are shared. Fresh bread is broken. Bowls of lentils pass from hand to hand. Children tell small stories about the day's adventures. Grandparents listen with patient smiles. Some homes enjoy roasted fish. Others have onions, cucumbers, or figs. No meal is grand. Every meal is welcome. The lamplighter knows that his own family has likely begun eating. His wife understands his work well enough not to worry. Some evenings he returns before full darkness. Other evenings he remains inside the temple until nearly everyone else has gone home. The lamps decide his schedule. Not the clock. Not the sun. Not even hunger. A soft bell echoes somewhere within the temple. Its sound drifts through the stone halls like a gentle ripple upon quiet water. Evening ceremonies will soon begin. The lamplighter checks his remaining oil. Enough for many more lamps. He adjusts the carrying frame across his shoulders. Though lighter than it had been that afternoon, it still reminds him of the day's long miles. His shoulders ache. His knees feel stiff. His hands smell faintly of flax oil and warm clay. He does not mind. These have become the familiar signs of a day's honest labor. As twilight settles more deeply across the ancient city, each new lamp he lights seems to hold a tiny piece of the fading sun, offering its gentle glow to anyone still walking the quiet stone corridors while, beyond the temple walls, the first stars begin to appear one by one above the peaceful waters of the Nile. Twilight settles gently across the land. The last colors of the day linger for a little while above the western horizon, fading so slowly that it is difficult to say exactly when evening becomes night. Gold softens into amber. Amber becomes pale violet. Soon the sky deepens into a rich blue where the first stars begin to shine. The lamplighter notices these changes only in small moments. Most of his attention belongs to the quiet flames before him. The temple has entered its evening rhythm. During the brightest hours of the day, sunlight reached many of the outer halls. Now the stone passages welcome a different kind of light. Small oil lamps glow from shallow niches carved into the walls. Their flames are never large. They do not chase away every shadow. Instead, they live peacefully beside the darkness. The darkness seems content to remain wherever the lamps do not reach. The lamplighter has always liked this balance. Too much light can feel harsh after a long day beneath the Egyptian sun. Gentle light asks nothing of tired eyes. He walks through a passage lined with towering columns. Each column disappears into the darkness above. The ceiling is so high that the flames below barely touch it. Their light dances across painted carvings of birds, reeds, boats, and flowers. Every movement of the flame gives the ancient artwork a quiet feeling of life. A breeze slips through an open doorway. Several flames lean together for a brief moment before standing upright once more. The lamplighter pauses. He watches carefully. A strong draft can shorten the life of a wick. He trims one ever so slightly. The flame becomes calmer. Only then does he continue. His hands move with the confidence that only many years can give. There is no wasted motion. No uncertainty. Lift the lamp. Feel its warmth. Look at the oil. Examine the wick. Clean away the soot. Fill. Trim. Light. Watch. Walk on. The rhythm is almost like a slow song that only his hands remember. Far beyond the temple walls, the evening meal has begun in many homes. Warm bread is lifted from clay ovens. The crust crackles softly as it cools. Steam rises for only a few moments before disappearing into the evening air. Bowls of lentils simmer gently over small cooking fires. Onions roast beside glowing coals. A few families enjoy fresh fish wrapped in reeds and cooked slowly until tender. Others eat beans seasoned with herbs gathered earlier that day. Children wait patiently. Their hunger has grown through hours of running, helping, learning, and playing. Parents divide the food carefully. No one receives too much. No one wishes for anyone else to receive too little. The lamplighter imagines his own family sitting together. His oldest child is probably telling a story from the day's work. The youngest may already be growing sleepy, rubbing tired eyes while trying to stay awake long enough for another piece of bread. His wife likely reminds everyone to drink water before sleeping. The clay jar has spent the afternoon in the coolest corner of the house. The water inside is no longer cold, but it still carries the fresh taste of the Nile. He smiles quietly. Soon enough, he will join them. But not yet. There are still many lamps waiting. He enters a small chamber where temple servants prepare supplies for the following morning. Bundles of fresh reeds rest against one wall. Clay jars stand in neat rows. Woven baskets filled with linen cloth are stacked carefully to keep them clean. Only one servant remains inside. She folds freshly washed linen with slow, careful hands. The lamp nearest her burns low. She looks up as the lamplighter enters. I hoped you would come before it grew dark. I try not to keep anyone waiting. He kneels beside the lamp. The servant continues folding cloth while he works. The room is quiet except for the soft rustle of linen. Fresh oil glimmers inside the lamp. The flame grows steady once more. The servant thanks him with a gentle nod. She does not stop working. Neither does he. There is comfort in people quietly doing the tasks they know well. The temple has many workers. Some clean. Some cook. Some write. Some carry water. Some tend gardens where flowers are grown for ceremonies. Each person knows that another depends upon their work. The lamplighter depends upon those who press the flax into oil. The oil makers depend upon farmers. The farmers depend upon the river. The river depends upon no one. It simply flows. Outside, the moon begins to rise. Its pale light spreads softly across rooftops and courtyards. Unlike the bright sun, the moon asks nothing from the earth. It simply watches. Its reflection appears upon the Nile in long silver ribbons that tremble whenever a fish breaks the surface. Several fishermen remain upon the water. Night fishing often brings different catches than the morning. Their small boats drift quietly. The sound of wooden oars carries gently across the river. From the temple entrance, the lamplighter hears frogs beginning their nightly chorus among the reeds. The sound is familiar, steady, comforting. Every evening they sing together. Every morning they fall quiet again. The seasons may change. Floodwaters may rise and fall. Children grow into adults. Yet the frogs continue their patient song. He has listened to them since he was younger than his own son. Sometimes he wonders whether his children will hear the same voices many years from now. He hopes they will. Some things deserve to remain unchanged. A pair of temple cats appear silently from the shadows. One is gray. The other carries patches of sandy brown across its back. They walk with quiet confidence, pausing now and then to watch the flickering lamps. One cat settles beneath a column where the stone still holds warmth from the day. The other disappears into a storage room, likely searching for mice among the grain jars. The lamplighter has known these cats for several seasons. Or perhaps they are the children of cats he once knew. It becomes difficult to tell after enough years. Cats come and go. The temple always welcomes another. They ask for little. A safe place. A little food. Warm stone. In return, they keep watch over the stores. The lamplighter continues into one of the longest hallways in the temple. Here, dozens of lamps stand along both sides of the passage. Lighting them all requires patience. He begins at one end. Each lamp receives exactly the same attention as the last. He never hurries simply because many remain. The first deserves no less care than the final one. As he works, the hallway gradually changes. Dark corners soften. Stone carvings emerge from shadow. The polished floor reflects tiny circles of golden light. By the time he reaches the opposite end, the entire corridor seems to breathe more gently. A young priest enters carrying a bundle of rolled papyrus. He pauses. The hallway feels peaceful tonight. The lamplighter looks back toward the rows of glowing lamps. I think they enjoy the evening. The priest smiles. Perhaps they do. He continues on his way. The lamplighter remains where he is for a few moments longer. He watches the flames. None smoke. None flicker too strongly. Each burns quietly. Exactly as it should. Far outside the city, fields settle into darkness. The day's warmth slowly leaves the soil. Night insects begin their endless songs. Oxen rest inside simple shelters, chewing slowly before sleeping. Donkeys stand close together. Goats curl against one another. Palm trees sway gently whenever the night breeze passes through their leaves. The desert beyond remains silent beneath countless stars. Travelers crossing those distant sands may already see the temple lights glowing faintly above the city. Tiny points of gold. Small but welcoming. The lamplighter has never traveled far into the desert. His world is measured instead by familiar streets, familiar faces, and familiar lamps. He has never wished for anything grand. There is quiet satisfaction in knowing exactly where one belongs. He walks back toward the central courtyard. The stone beneath his sandals has finally begun to cool. The air feels lighter than it did only a few hours ago. He lifts his face toward the night sky for a brief moment. The stars appear brighter now. They seem almost close enough to touch. Some are reflected in the calm water of the temple pools. The reflections tremble gently whenever a breeze crosses the surface. It is difficult to tell where the sky ends and the water begins. The lamplighter breathes slowly. Another evening has nearly reached its quietest hours. Many families are already preparing for sleep. Children curl beneath linen blankets. Cooking fires fade into glowing embers. Voices grow softer behind mud-brick walls. One by one, the sounds of the city settle into peaceful silence, while within the warm stone halls of the temple, the lamplighter continues his gentle rounds, carrying with him the calm glow of countless small flames that ask for nothing more than a careful hand and a little time. Night settles completely over the city. The last traces of sunset have disappeared beyond the western horizon, leaving only the quiet company of the moon and the countless stars above the Nile. Their light is gentle, never demanding attention. It rests softly upon rooftops, palm leaves, quiet roads, and still water, covering everything with a calm silver glow. The temple now belongs almost entirely to the lamps. Small circles of warm light float through the great stone halls like peaceful companions. They do not compete with the moon outside. Instead, each serves its own small corner of the ancient world, making a doorway easier to see, a stair safer to climb, or a passage more welcoming to those still awake. The lamplighter walks slowly through these familiar pools of light. His shadow stretches across the polished floor beside him. Sometimes it grows long. Sometimes it becomes short. Each flame shapes it differently. He has watched this quiet dance for so many years that he rarely thinks about it anymore. It simply feels like another part of the evening. The temple is quieter now than it has been all day. The voices of workers have almost disappeared. Only a handful of priests continue their duties in the inner chambers. A servant carries a small basket of folded linen through one hallway before quietly disappearing behind a carved wooden door. Somewhere in the distance, a broom brushes gently across stone. The sound echoes only once before fading into silence. The lamplighter pauses near a doorway that opens toward the outer courtyard. The air outside feels cooler now. The day's heavy warmth has finally begun to drift away. A soft breeze carries the scent of the river. It slips through the temple entrance, stirring the edges of hanging linen curtains. The nearest flame bends politely before standing tall once again. He watches for a moment. The wick is trimmed well. The flame steadies quickly. There is nothing more to do. He continues onward. His sandals make little sound against the smooth stone. Years of walking have taught him exactly how to place each step. He no longer thinks about the movement. His feet simply know. As he reaches one of the smaller courtyards, he notices an elderly guard sitting quietly beside the entrance. The man's spear rests against the wall. His helmet has been set aside for a few moments of comfort. He warms his hands near a small lamp resting on a low stone ledge. The night is not cold, but after the heat of the day, the gentle warmth of a flame feels pleasant. The guard smiles when he sees the lamplighter. "You keep me company every evening." "The lamps do that." "They do." The old guard looks at the small flame. "I have watched this doorway for many years." "So have I." "We have both grown older." The lamplighter nods. "So have the sandals I wear." The guard chuckles softly. "I think mine became old before I did." Their laughter is quiet enough that it hardly disturbs the peaceful night. Neither man feels the need to fill the silence with many words. Long years often make conversation simpler. The lamplighter checks the lamp beside the guard. There is still enough oil. He leaves it untouched. Not every lamp requires attention every time he passes. Knowing when not to interfere is part of the work. He continues toward a narrow hallway leading to the temple library. Even at this late hour, one room still glows with gentle light. Inside, two scribes continue copying old texts onto fresh sheets of papyrus. Their movements are slow. Their shoulders are slightly bent from many hours of careful writing. One pauses now and then to stretch tired fingers. The other gently rubs his eyes before returning to his work. The lamplighter steps inside. Neither scribe looks surprised. They have expected him. One lamp has nearly emptied itself. The flame has grown small. Its light remains steady, but only just. Without interrupting the quiet work, he kneels beside it. The familiar scent of warm flax oil rises into the still air. He removes the darkened wick. Fresh linen replaces it. Oil flows smoothly into the shallow clay bowl. Then comes the smallest touch of fire. The flame returns to its full gentle glow. The scribes continue writing. Only after several moments does one of them finally speak. "I think the letters look kinder in fresh light." The lamplighter smiles. "They are easier on tired eyes." "I am grateful for that." The room becomes quiet again. The scratch of reed pens across papyrus resumes its peaceful rhythm. The lamplighter stands and leaves without another word. Some rooms do not need conversation. Outside, the moon has climbed higher into the sky. Its light reaches farther across the city now. Flat rooftops shine softly. Palm trees cast long silver shadows. The calm surface of the Nile reflects both moonlight and starlight together until the river seems filled with tiny lights drifting gently north. Several boats remain tied along the shore. Their ropes creak softly whenever the current shifts. A fisherman sleeps beneath a folded net beside his boat. Tomorrow will begin before sunrise once again. He has learned to rest whenever the river allows. Not far away, a family finishes their evening meal. The oldest daughter sweeps crumbs from the floor into a small basket. Her younger brother carefully carries empty bowls toward a water jar. Their mother folds linen cloth that had covered the bread. Their father sits quietly near the doorway, enjoying the cool air after a long day in the fields. No one speaks loudly. The youngest child has already fallen asleep against her grandmother's shoulder. The grandmother strokes the child's hair slowly while looking out toward the stars. There is no hurry to move. Evening invites people to become still. The lamplighter often wonders how many homes settle into the same peaceful rhythm each night. Hundreds. Perhaps thousands. Different families. Different worries. Different hopes. Yet when darkness arrives, nearly everyone seeks the same quiet comforts. A little food. A little rest. The company of those they love. A small flame to soften the darkness. He reaches another staircase. These steps lead toward a roof where several large lamps guide the few people who must still move between the temple buildings after nightfall. The climb is slow. His knees remind him that he has spent the entire day walking. Each step asks for just a little more effort than the last. Still, he climbs without complaint. The work has shaped his body over many seasons. His shoulders are broad from carrying oil. His hands are rough from clay, stone, and linen. His skin has grown dark beneath years of Egyptian sunlight. His feet have become strong enough to carry him across the same roads day after day. The staircase opens onto the roof. The view always rewards the climb. The city stretches quietly beneath the stars. Hundreds of rooftops rest side by side like gentle waves upon the earth. Here and there, tiny lamps glow inside open courtyards. Some families have already allowed their lamps to burn low before sleep. Others keep them lit while telling quiet stories beneath the moon. The breeze is stronger here. It carries the cool scent of water mixed with distant reeds. The lamplighter walks toward the first rooftop lamp. Its bronze stand has become cool beneath the night air. The flame burns steadily. He adds only a little oil. Just enough to last until dawn. The second lamp needs more attention. Its wick has curled slightly to one side. He straightens it with careful fingers. The flame immediately becomes brighter. He waits. Watching. Always watching. A hurried lamplighter leaves too soon. A careful one remains long enough to know the flame is truly healthy. He has learned that patience often saves work later. Below him, somewhere in the sleeping city, a donkey gives a quiet bray before settling once again. A dog answers briefly from another street. Then silence returns. The insects continue their endless evening chorus. From the river comes the occasional splash of a fish breaking the surface. The sounds are never loud. Together they become the music of the ancient night. The lamplighter leans gently against the cool stone wall surrounding the roof. Only for a moment. He looks toward the horizon where the dark outline of the desert meets the sky. During the day, the desert seems endless. At night, beneath the stars, it appears almost gentle. The moon smooths every sharp edge. The dunes become soft waves of silver and shadow. He remembers stories his grandfather once told beside evening fires. Stories of caravans crossing those distant sands. Of wells hidden among rocky hills. Of travelers guided not by roads but by the stars above. As a child, those stories seemed enormous. Now, after many years, he is content to hear them only in memory. His own journey has never reached the deep desert. It has been measured instead by the steady path between his home, the temple, the workshops, the market streets, and the quiet riverbank. That small path has been enough for a lifetime. There is comfort in returning to familiar places. There is peace in recognizing every doorway, every tree, every stone worn smooth by generations before him. The rooftop lamps now burn with calm, steady flames. The night breeze moves around them without disturbing their gentle glow. The lamplighter takes one last slow look across the sleeping city before turning toward the staircase once more, ready to continue his quiet rounds through the peaceful temple, where countless small lights wait patiently for the careful hands that have watched over them through another long and gentle day beside the Nile. The lamplighter begins the slow walk down from the rooftop. The stone steps have cooled beneath the night air, and each one carries the smooth polish left by countless feet over many generations. Men and women have climbed these stairs for reasons both ordinary and sacred. Priests carrying offerings. Servants bringing fresh water. Scribes delivering rolled sheets of papyrus. Builders repairing worn stone. Guards beginning their nightly watch. Tonight, only one pair of sandals echoes softly against the ancient steps. The sound is gentle. Step. Pause. Step. Pause. The lamplighter carries his small oil jar close to his side. It is much lighter now than it was this morning. Nearly all of its contents have found new homes inside waiting lamps throughout the temple. He has learned to judge the passing of a day by the weight of the jar. When dawn begins, it is heavy. When midnight approaches, it feels almost empty. The staircase opens into another long hallway. Here the lamps burn quietly along both walls, their warm glow reaching only a short distance before fading into soft shadows. The shadows do not seem lonely. They belong here. Light and darkness have shared these corridors every evening for longer than anyone living can remember. The lamplighter walks between them without disturbing either one. A cool draft slips through a narrow opening high above. It carries the scent of stone that has slowly released the day's heat. The smell is different now than it was at sunset. Earlier, the walls felt warm beneath his fingertips. Now they feel calm. Almost cool. The temple itself seems to breathe more slowly. He pauses beside one lamp that rests inside a carved niche. The flame has become smaller than the others. Not because it lacks oil. The wick has folded slightly into itself. He kneels. His knees bend carefully. Years of climbing stairs and walking stone passages have taught him never to move too quickly. He reaches into the small pouch tied at his belt and removes a fresh length of twisted linen. The old wick has served well. Its work is finished. He thanks it silently, though only in his thoughts. Even simple things deserve quiet appreciation. The fresh wick drinks the oil. A tiny flame catches. For a moment it flickers gently. Then it steadies. The carved wall glows once more. A painted lotus flower becomes visible again. Nearby, the carved feathers of a falcon seem almost to shimmer in the warm light. The lamplighter stands. His shadow rises with him. Then both continue down the hallway together. Far outside the temple, the city grows even quieter. Most homes have closed their wooden doors for the night. Only small openings remain to welcome the cooler air drifting through narrow streets. Inside one modest house, a grandmother tells a story to two sleepy children. Her voice is so soft that only those nearest her can hear. She speaks of the Nile during the Great Flood, when the river spread across the fields and left behind rich dark soil. She remembers seasons long before the children were born. Years when harvests were especially generous. Years when the wind carried more rain than expected. The children listen with heavy eyes. One leans against her shoulder. The other curls beneath a folded linen cloth. Before the story reaches its ending, both are asleep. The grandmother smiles. She continues speaking for another few moments anyway. Not because anyone is listening. Because the familiar words are comforting to her as well. Across the street, a young potter washes the last traces of clay from his hands. The water in his bowl has turned cloudy. He pours it carefully onto the dry ground outside. Tomorrow the earth will drink it. His workshop rests quietly now. Rows of unfinished bowls wait beneath damp cloths. The wheel stands still. The day's spinning has ended. His shoulders ache pleasantly. He closes the wooden door and looks up. The stars seem especially bright tonight. He takes a long, slow breath before walking home. The lamplighter knows none of these small moments directly. Yet he has lived in this city long enough to imagine them. Routine teaches a person many things. Not only about one's own work, but about everyone else's. He knows when the baker sleeps. He knows when the fishermen return. He knows when the first smoke rises from morning ovens. He knows when the street's empty. His work has quietly connected him to the rhythm of the whole city. He reaches another small courtyard inside the temple. At its center stands a shallow pool. The water is perfectly still. The moon rests upon its surface like a polished silver coin. A single leaf has fallen from a nearby tree. It drifts slowly across the reflection. The moon bends gently around it, then becomes whole again. The lamplighter stands beside the pool for a little while. He enjoys this place. Even during the busiest festivals, the water always seems calm. Tonight, it reflects not only the moon but several nearby lamps as well. Golden circles float beside silver light. The two colors meet without mixing. One belongs to fire. The other belongs to the sky. He bends to refill a small hand bowl with water from a clay jar nearby. He rinses a little soot from his fingers. The cool water feels refreshing. Tiny ripples spread across the bowl before becoming still once again. His hands carry the familiar scent of oil. No amount of washing removes it completely. His wife sometimes smiles when he returns home. "I knew you were outside before I saw you," she once told him. "You smelled like fresh lamps." He had laughed quietly. "So I always will." She had nodded. "I hope so." That memory returns now as naturally as breathing. He wonders whether she has already gone to sleep. Perhaps she waits a little longer tonight. Perhaps she has left a small piece of bread wrapped in linen for when he returns. She knows he often eats again after finishing his evening rounds. Walking so many miles leaves a quiet hunger. Not urgent. Just steady. The lamplighter leaves the courtyard and enters one of the oldest sections of the temple. The stone here is darker. Its floor has become smooth from centuries of footsteps. Some carvings have softened with time. Others remain surprisingly sharp. He traces one carved line gently with his fingertips as he passes. The stone feels cool. Solid. Patient. He wonders how many lamplighters before him have walked this same hallway. 10. 20. 50. More. He cannot know. Few people record the names of men whose work is simply to keep lamps burning. Yet they have all been here. Morning after morning. Evening after evening. One careful hand replacing another across generations. Their footsteps have disappeared. Their voices have faded. But their quiet work remains alive in every evening flame. This thought does not make him sad. It gives him comfort. The world continues because ordinary people quietly do ordinary work. A farmer plants seeds. A potter shapes clay. A weaver prepares linen. A fisherman casts his net. A baker tends the oven. A lamplighter protects the flame. Together, they build days that become years. Years that become generations. Without ever seeking to be remembered. Ahead, he notices a young temple servant struggling to carry 2 water jars. The boy pauses to rest halfway down the corridor. The jars are not enormous. But after a long day, even modest weight becomes heavy. The lamplighter walks over. Without speaking, he lifts one jar. Together they continue toward the storage room. The servant smiles with quiet gratitude. "I thought I could carry both." "You nearly did." "I wanted to finish quickly." The lamplighter nods. "We all do when we are young. And now I know that steady feet reach home just as surely." The boy thinks about those words. They walk the rest of the way in peaceful silence. At the doorway, the servant accepts the jar once more. "Thank you." "You are welcome." The boy disappears inside. The lamplighter continues on. The hallway ahead is nearly empty now. Only the gentle breathing of the lamps keeps him company. Each flame burns with its own quiet character. Some stand perfectly still. Some sway almost too gently to notice. A few glow a little brighter than the others because their oil is especially fresh. Together they create a soft path through the ancient temple. The lamplighter follows that path without hurry, his nearly empty oil jar resting lightly against his side, while beyond the thick stone walls the peaceful city sleeps beneath the endless stars, and the slow, timeless current of the Nile continues its quiet journey through the heart of Egypt. The night grows deeper. Hours have passed so quietly that they seem to have slipped away like water moving through reeds along the edge of the Nile. The temple no longer carries the gentle footsteps of evening visitors. Most doors have been closed. Most voices have faded into sleep. Only those whose duties belong to the night remain awake. The lamplighter is one of them. He walks at the same calm pace he kept before dawn. His day has been long, yet his movements remain careful. Experience has taught him that tired hands deserve even greater patience than fresh ones. He enters a narrow passage that curves gently around the oldest part of the temple. The ceiling is lower here. The walls feel closer together. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of limestone that has rested in darkness for centuries. The lamps placed along this passage are smaller than those in the great halls. Their light is soft enough that it barely reaches from one side of the corridor to the other. The lamplighter likes these quiet places. They remind him that not every task needs to be grand. Sometimes a single small flame is enough. He stops before the first lamp. Its clay bowl is smooth from years of careful use. Many hands have lifted it before his own. Many more will likely lift it after he is gone. He brushes away a little soot with a folded linen cloth. The cloth has become dark from repeated cleaning, yet it still serves its purpose well. Nothing useful is thrown away too quickly. Linen is valuable. Oil is valuable. Clay is valuable. Time itself is valuable. The lamp brighter glows once more after only a few gentle touches. He watches it for a moment. The flame breathes steadily. Satisfied, he continues. Some distance away, a watchman walks slowly along the outer wall of the temple grounds. His sandals scrape softly against gravel. Every few moments he pauses to look toward the sleeping city. Nothing moves except the breeze through the palm leaves. The watchman is grateful for that. A peaceful night is the best kind of night. He hears the distant sound of the lamplighter's footsteps inside the temple. The familiar rhythm reassures him. Someone else is awake. Someone else is quietly caring for the place they both serve. He smiles to himself before continuing his own slow round. Inside, the lamplighter reaches a doorway that opens toward a small garden enclosed by stone walls. Even at night, the garden carries gentle life. The leaves of young sycamore trees whisper softly together. Lotus flowers rest upon a shallow pond, their blossoms closed until morning. The scent of damp earth rises gently after giving up the heat stored throughout the day. Moonlight falls across the water. The reflection trembles only when a small fish stirs below the surface. The lamplighter pauses beside the pond. He often visits this little garden during his rounds. Not because there is much work here. Simply because it feels peaceful. A single lamp hangs beneath a wooden shelter near the water. Its flame reflects upon the pond like a second moon. He checks the oil. There is still enough. He trims the wick only slightly. Sometimes the smallest adjustment is all that is needed. He remembers something his father once told him when he was still a boy. If you care for small things every day, they rarely become big problems. At the time, his father had been repairing a woven basket. Only one strand had broken. The young boy had wondered why it mattered. His father had smiled. If I wait until many strands break, the basket will no longer hold grain. The lesson stayed with him. Now, many years later, he finds himself living by those same quiet words. A wick trimmed today burns well tonight. A cracked jar noticed early saves precious oil. A loose sandal strap repaired before dawn lasts through another week of walking. Life often asks for small acts of care rather than great acts of strength. The breeze carries the distant scent of the river into the garden. Somewhere beyond the temple walls, reeds sway gently along the bank. A night bird calls once. Then silence returns. The lamplighter leaves the garden and follows another familiar corridor. His oil jar is almost empty now. Only enough remains for a few final adjustments before he returns it to the storage room. The lightness of the jar reminds him that dawn is slowly drawing nearer, even though the sky still appears dark. Night has its own quiet measure of time. The moon climbs. The stars shift almost too slowly to notice. The air cools. The lamps consume their oil little by little. These are the clocks by which he has lived most of his life. As he rounds a corner, he notices a young apprentice seated against the wall. The boy had been assigned to watch a storeroom door during the night. His eyes fight against sleep. His chin lowers. Then rises again. The lamplighter remembers those long nights from his own youth. He stops beside the boy. Tired? The apprentice nods, smiling sheepishly. I did not know the night could be this quiet. It is quieter after midnight. I keep listening for something to happen. The lamplighter looks down the peaceful hallway. Sometimes nothing happening is the finest kind of night. The boy considers that. I suppose it is. It means everyone rests well. The apprentice straightens his back a little. I can stay awake. I believe you. The lamplighter continues walking. Behind him, the boy seems a little more alert now. Sometimes a few calm words are enough. The corridor opens into a larger hall where rows of stone columns stand like silent trees. The lamps between them cast gentle circles upon the floor. Each circle touches the next without quite joining. Walking through them feels almost like stepping from one quiet island into another. The ceiling disappears into darkness high above. Somewhere near the roof, a small bat shifts its position before becoming still again. The lamplighter smiles faintly. Even the temple's smallest nighttime visitors have their own routines. Near one column rests a wooden stool. An elderly cleaner sits there for a short rest. A broom leans beside him. He has spent much of the evening sweeping fine dust that drifts into the temple from the surrounding desert. No matter how carefully he sweeps, more dust always arrives. The lamplighter sits beside him for a moment. Neither man speaks. They simply rest together. The cleaner rubs his hands slowly. They are not as strong as they once were. The lamplighter looks at his own rough fingers. Mine either. But they still remember the work. They do. The cleaner nods. I think hands remember longer than the rest of us. For a little while, they watch the nearest flame burn. Its gentle light reaches their sandals. Beyond that, darkness waits patiently. After several peaceful moments, the cleaner stands again. The dust will still be here tomorrow. It always is. So I should sweep a little more tonight. And I should tend a few more lamps. They exchange warm smiles before each returns to his own quiet duty. The lamplighter walks onward. His body feels pleasantly weary. Not exhausted. simply ready for rest whenever the final lamp has been checked. His shoulders have carried oil since before sunrise. His feet have crossed courtyards, workshops, libraries, gardens, rooftops, and silent corridors. Yet each familiar place has welcomed him with the same calm certainty. He realizes that he knows the temple almost the way a shepherd knows every bend in a hillside path. Not because he studied it once. Because he has walked it every day for years. There is comfort in such familiarity. Ahead, through an open doorway, he can see the moon beginning its slow journey toward the western sky. The stars remain bright. The Nile continues flowing beyond the sleeping city. A cool breeze enters the hall, carrying with it the quiet promise that before many more hours have passed, the eastern horizon will gently begin to pale once again, and another peaceful morning in ancient Egypt will slowly awaken, just as countless mornings have awakened before. The deepest hours of the night arrive so gently that they almost pass unnoticed. The moon has crossed high above the temple and now begins its slow journey toward the western horizon. The stars seem brighter than they did earlier in the evening, filling the sky with countless tiny points of light. The air has become cooler, and the warmth stored in the stone throughout the day has nearly faded away. The lamplighter notices the change as soon as he steps into the open courtyard. Earlier, the floor beneath his sandals had still carried the memory of the afternoon sun. Now it feels pleasantly cool. He pauses for a moment and takes a long, quiet breath. The night has its own scent. The dusty roads outside have settled after a day of footsteps. Cooking fires have burned down into soft beds of glowing ash. The breeze carries the fresh smell of river water, reeds, and damp earth from the Nile. Somewhere beyond the city walls, fields rest beneath the stars. The wheat, barley, and flax move gently whenever the wind passes over them. Even while people sleep, the land continues its slow and peaceful work. The lamplighter has always found comfort in that thought. Not everything depends upon waking hands. Some things simply continue. The river flows. The moon travels. The stars wheel quietly overhead. The breeze crosses the desert before reaching the valley. Life never completely stops. It merely becomes quieter. He begins another slow circuit through the temple. By now he no longer carries the large oil jar across his shoulder. Instead, he holds a much smaller clay vessel with enough oil for only a few final adjustments before dawn. Its light weight feels almost strange after carrying heavier loads throughout the day. He smiles softly to himself. The nearly empty jar tells him he has done his work well. As he walks beneath the towering columns, he notices how different the temple feels at this hour. Earlier there had been footsteps. Soft conversations. The rustle of linen robes. The distant scraping of chairs and wooden chests. Now only the lamps remain awake. Their flames burn steadily without asking for attention. They have become quiet companions. One after another. Hall after hall. Their golden light stretches across the polished stone floors, creating long ribbons that fade gently into darkness. The lamplighter stops beside a broad column where a lamp rests upon a carved stone shelf. The flame is healthy. The oil remains plentiful. Nothing needs changing. Still, he watches it for several slow breaths. He has learned that careful observation often prevents tomorrow's problems. The lamp burns peacefully. He moves on. Near the entrance to a small storeroom, he hears the gentle scratching of tiny feet. One of the temple cats emerges from the shadows. It carries itself with complete confidence, as though every corridor belongs equally to it. Its fur glows softly beneath the lamplight. The cat pauses beside the lamplighter. It looks up with calm yellow eyes. Then it rubs gently against his leg before continuing toward the grain stores. The lamplighter chuckles under his breath. The cats never ask permission. They simply arrive where they wish to be. He has grown fond of them over the years. Many evenings they accompany him for a little while, wandering silently from one hallway to another before disappearing into the darkness. He suspects they know the temple almost as well as he does. Perhaps even better. Their lives unfold during the quiet hours when most people sleep. The corridor ahead leads toward one of the oldest courtyards. A single sycamore tree grows there, its branches spreading wide above a stone bench worn smooth by generations of visitors. Moonlight filters gently through the leaves. The shifting shadows resemble moving water upon the ground. The lamplighter sits for a brief rest. Not because he must. Simply because the night invites stillness. His sandals rest flat upon the cool stone. He stretches one foot slowly. The muscles along his legs feel pleasantly tired. There is no sharp pain. Only the gentle heaviness that follows honest work. He closes his eyes for a moment. Not to sleep. Only to listen. The sounds of the night gather around him. A distant owl calls once from somewhere near the river. Frogs continue their steady chorus among the reeds. The breeze whispers through palm leaves. Far away, a donkey shifts in its sleep and lets out a quiet breath. Nothing disturbs the silence. Each sound belongs naturally to it. The lamplighter remembers sitting beneath another tree many years ago. He had been little older than the young apprentice now sweeping temple floors. His own father had finished repairing a wooden yoke for an ox. The evening had been warm. The stars had looked much as they do tonight. His father had spoken slowly, never wasting words. There will always be another sunrise. The young boy had nodded without fully understanding. His father smiled. That is why today's work should be done with care. The boy had asked, so tomorrow will be easier. His father had shaken his head gently. No. The answer had surprised him. Tomorrow will have its own work. Then why should I work carefully today? His father had looked toward the stars before answering. Because careful work makes the heart peaceful. The lamplighter opens his eyes. He understands those words now in a way the boy never could. The lamps are not only for those who walk the temple. They have shaped the rhythm of his own life. Each careful flame has quietly taught him patience. Each evening has taught him steadiness. Each morning has reminded him to begin again. He rises from the bench. The rest has been enough. Ahead lies another quiet passage. Its walls are decorated with painted reeds, birds, and boats gliding upon blue water. The colors have softened over many generations, yet they remain beautiful in the gentle glow of the lamps. He pauses before one painting showing fishermen casting wide nets across the Nile. He has passed this wall thousands of times. Still, he notices new details now and then. A small bird hidden among the reeds. The careful curve of a boat's prow. The patient expression upon a fisherman's face. Whoever painted it had also understood quiet work. The lamplighter continues on. He reaches the library once more. The two scribes who had worked late into the evening are gone now. Their writing palettes have been cleaned. The reed pens rest neatly inside a wooden box. Rolled papyrus waits upon low shelves. The room is perfectly still. Only one lamp remains burning. Its flame reflects gently upon the polished surface of a small bronze bowl. He checks the oil. Enough remains until dawn. He smiles. The scribes will return in the morning to a room already waiting for them. They may never think about the lamp that greeted them. That is perfectly fine. Much of life's most important work happens quietly in the background. The lamplighter leaves the room exactly as he found it. Outside, the eastern horizon remains dark, yet something has changed. The stars nearest that distant edge seem just a little softer than before. Not because daylight has arrived. Only because it is slowly making its patient journey toward the world once again. He has watched this quiet transformation for countless mornings. It never hurries. It never announces itself. Night simply begins to loosen its gentle hold upon the land. He walks toward the temple entrance. The great wooden doors remain closed. Beyond them, the sleeping city waits. Before long, a baker will wake to prepare fresh dough. A fisherman will untie his boat. A mother will grind grain. Children will stir beneath linen blankets. Donkeys will rise. Birds will begin singing. The first smoke will climb into the morning sky. The entire city will awaken one peaceful step at a time. For now, though, ancient Egypt remains wrapped in one last quiet hour of darkness. The lamplighter continues his slow rounds beneath the fading stars, carrying only a small clay jar and many years of gentle habit, while every steady flame around him patiently keeps its watch until the first pale light of another day begins to touch the distant banks of the timeless Nile. The night has become very still. It is the quietest hour before morning, when even the insects seem to pause between their songs. The air is cool against the stone walls of the temple, and a thin mist has begun to gather above the Nile. It rests lightly upon the water, softening the reflections of the stars until they seem to drift inside a gentle dream. The lamplighter walks through the eastern courtyard. He has crossed this courtyard so many times that he no longer counts the journeys. Every flagstone beneath his sandals has its own small marks. Some carry tiny cracks where years of warm days and cool nights have slowly changed the stone. Others have become smooth beneath generations of careful footsteps. His own feet know these stones well. Even in near darkness, they find the easiest path. He carries only the smallest amount of oil now. The little clay vessel hangs comfortably from one hand. It barely sways as he walks. His other hand rests lightly against the wall from time to time, feeling the cool limestone beneath his fingertips. The stone is quiet. It has watched thousands of nights unfold just like this one. Long before he was born, other lamplighters walked these same passages. Long after he is gone, others will likely do the same. The thought no longer makes him wonder. It simply feels natural. Some work belongs not to one person, but to many generations. Each person carries it for a while before gently placing it into someone else's hands. The eastern gate remains closed. Beyond it, the city sleeps peacefully. Inside one small house, a baker has not yet awakened, but the dough prepared the evening before rests beneath a linen cloth. The yeast works quietly while the family sleeps. Without noise. Without hurry. Tiny changes happen in the darkness. By sunrise, the dough will be ready for the oven. In another home, bundles of flax lie neatly tied beside a loom. The weaver has gone to sleep with tired hands. Tomorrow those hands will once again pull thread through thread, building cloth so slowly that the work seems almost invisible until many hours have passed. A fisherman dreams beside his rolled nets. A potter sleeps with dried clay still caught beneath his fingernails. A farmer rests deeply after tending fields warmed by another long day beneath the Egyptian sun. Across the city, countless ordinary lives breathe quietly together. The lamplighter often thinks about them. Not because he knows every family. Because he knows the rhythm they all share. Morning. Work. Midday heat. Evening meal. Night. Rest. Then morning again. The cycle continues with gentle certainty. He reaches a narrow doorway leading into one of the oldest storage chambers. Inside, the room smells of cedar wood, woven baskets, dry linen, and cool stone. Clay jars stand in neat rows along the walls. Some hold fresh oil waiting for tomorrow. Others contain carefully folded wicks. Nothing is scattered. Everything has its place. The lamplighter enjoys this room. There is something comforting about order created through patient hands. He places his nearly empty oil vessel upon a wooden shelf. Tomorrow it will be filled again. Tomorrow it will feel heavy once more. Tonight it has earned its rest. He runs his fingers along the handles of the larger storage jars. Each one has been shaped by a potter who may no longer be alive. Yet the jars continue serving faithfully. Good craftsmanship often outlives the hands that created it. He quietly thanks the unknown potters in his thoughts. Without them, his own work would be far more difficult. He lifts a fresh bundle of linen wicks and sets it where it will be easy to find before dawn. The bundle smells faintly of clean flax. The fibers are smooth and tightly twisted. He imagines the weavers who prepared them. Long hours beneath shaded workshops. Patient fingers. Steady attention. His work depends upon theirs just as surely as theirs depends upon the farmers who grew the flax. The city is connected by countless quiet efforts. No single person carries the whole day alone. Leaving the storeroom, he notices the first faint change in the air. It is not light. Not yet. It is something softer. The breeze has shifted. It now comes gently from the river, carrying cool moisture across the sleeping streets. The scent of wet reeds becomes slightly stronger. He smiles. The Nile always seems to know that morning is approaching before anyone else. He walks toward the outer colonnade where the longest row of lamps stretches beneath towering pillars. One by one, he inspects them. Most burn steadily. A few need only the slightest touch. He trims one wick by the width of a fingernail. Another receives a single careful drop of oil. Nothing more. The smallest acts often keep everything running smoothly. A careless worker might empty fresh oil into every lamp simply because it is easier than looking closely. The lamplighter has never worked that way. Oil comes from labor. Flax comes from labor. Clay comes from labor. Waste dishonors the hands that produce them. His father had taught him that many years ago. Respect begins with small things. He still hears those words. They arrive quietly whenever he reaches for another lamp. Far above, the stars slowly begin to fade. Not all at once. One after another. The brightest remain. The smaller ones become difficult to see. The sky in the east changes from deep black to a color almost too gentle to name. It is not blue. Not gray. Only the first whisper of morning. A bird sings. Just one. The note is short. Then silence returns. A few moments later, another bird answers from somewhere near the river. The lamplighter stops walking. He always enjoys this moment. The first birds never seem eager. Their songs sound as though they are carefully testing the new day before welcoming it. Soon many others will join them. For now, only two voices greet the approaching dawn. He continues toward the temple entrance. The old guard who had shared quiet conversation earlier in the night still watches from his place. His eyes are tired. His beard catches the faintest hint of silver from the growing light. "You have nearly finished," the guard says softly. "So have you." The guard looks toward the eastern horizon. It comes again. It always does. I have watched many sunrises from this gate. The lamplighter nods. And I have watched many lamps wait for them. The guard smiles. I wonder which is more faithful. The sunrise. The guard chuckles. It has never been late. No. And your lamps? They do their best. For a while, the two old men stand together without speaking. The silence between them feels comfortable. Neither wishes to fill it with unnecessary words. They have learned that companionship often lives best in quiet moments. The first pale ribbon of dawn now touches the highest edge of the temple walls. The stone slowly changes color. Gray becomes soft gold. The carvings begin to emerge from shadow. The great columns reveal their shape once more. The lamps still burn, but their light now mingles gently with the arriving day. For a short while, neither light belongs entirely to the world. Fire and sunrise share the temple together. The lamplighter has always loved this meeting. It lasts only a little while. Soon the sun will climb higher. The lamps will seem smaller. One by one, many of them will be allowed to rest until evening returns. But not yet. There is no need to hurry. The world wakes slowly. As the city begins to stir beyond the temple walls, the lamplighter remains beside the entrance, watching the first gentle colors spread across the Nile, listening to the birds welcome another peaceful morning, and feeling once again the quiet satisfaction that comes from guiding countless small flames safely through the long and silent hours of the ancient Egyptian night. The first light of morning spreads across the Nile with quiet patience. It begins as the faintest silver glow resting upon the surface of the river. Then, little by little, that silver becomes pale gold. The water seems to awaken before the land does, catching every new color from the eastern sky and carrying it gently along its endless course. The lamplighter watches for a few peaceful moments. This is one of the few parts of the day that always feels new. He has seen thousands of dawns. Still, no two mornings appear exactly alike. Some arrive beneath clear skies. Some come wrapped in soft mist rising from the river. Others follow nights filled with cool desert winds. Each morning carries its own quiet character. Today the air is still. Only the smallest ripples move across the Nile. The first birds now sing with greater confidence. Their voices drip through the temple courtyard and out across the city. One song invites another. Soon dozens of birds greet the day together. The sound is gentle rather than loud. It grows naturally, like light itself. The lamplighter turns from the river and walks slowly toward the outer gate. The great wooden doors remain closed for only a little longer. Soon they will swing open, welcoming another ordinary day. He reaches one of the entrance lamps. Its flame, bright during the deepest hours of darkness, now seems softer beneath the growing daylight. He examines it carefully. The oil has lasted exactly as he hoped. The wick remains clean. He cups one hand around the flame for a moment, protecting it from a small breeze while he trims away the tiniest bit of blackened linen. The flame thanks him by burning steadily once again. It will continue for a little while longer before the sun makes it unnecessary. Nothing in his work feels wasted. Even the shortest burning lamp has served its purpose. A quiet light through a quiet hour is enough. The old guard beside the gate stretches his shoulders. The night has passed peacefully. His watch is nearly over. Soon another guard will arrive to greet the morning. The two men exchange a warm nod. Neither says much. There is comfort in familiar company. The guard adjusts the leather strap across his shoulder. I can smell bread. The lamplighter smiles. So can I. The breeze has shifted again. From somewhere beyond the temple walls comes the rich scent of fresh loaves entering hot clay ovens. The first bakers have begun their work. Even before the sun rises fully above the horizon, the city starts to breathe once more. Inside modest homes, sleeping children begin to stir. Some roll over beneath their linen blankets, hoping for a few more moments of rest. Others wake quickly, hearing familiar sounds from the courtyard outside. A mother kneels beside a grinding stone. Its steady rhythm returns after the silence of the night. Stone meets stone. Again. And again. The sound has greeted every morning for generations. Nearby, an old man unties a donkey from its shelter. The animal stretches its neck and shakes away the last traces of sleep. Soon it will carry baskets of vegetables toward the marketplace. It has walked the same roads for years. Like the lamplighter, it knows the journey without thinking. Across the village, smoke begins rising from cooking fires. Thin gray ribbons climb into the cool morning air before disappearing into the brightening sky. The smell of warm grain mixes with roasted onions. Fresh herbs are chopped upon wooden boards. Clay pots are uncovered after slowly cooling through the night. Families gather for simple breakfasts before another day of labor begins. The lamplighter imagines his own house. His wife is almost certainly awake now. She moves quietly so the youngest child may sleep just a little longer. She places bread upon a woven mat. Perhaps there is a small bowl of dates beside it. Perhaps leftover lentils from the evening meal. Nothing extravagant. Everything welcome. His oldest son may already be outside filling water jars. His daughter might be brushing yesterday's dust from the doorway with a bundle of reeds. Morning chores begin early. They always have. He hopes they are not waiting too anxiously for him. They understand his work. Some mornings he returns before sunrise. Other mornings, like this one, the lamps keep him a little longer. He smiles softly. His youngest child once asked if the lamps became lonely when he left. The question had surprised him. He answered after thinking carefully. No. Why not? Because they know I will return this evening. The child had nodded as though this explained everything. Perhaps it did. The lamplighter continues through the outer courtyard. The stone beneath his sandal slowly changes color as daylight grows stronger. The carvings that disappeared into shadow during the night now reveal themselves once more. Lotus flowers carved into the columns. Birds with outstretched wings. Rows of carefully painted reeds. Tiny details hidden by darkness now welcome the morning. He pauses beside a long row of lamps. One by one, he begins gently extinguishing those no longer needed. He does not blow them out. Instead, he carefully pinches each wick with a small bronze tool, preserving as much of it as possible for later use. A tiny thread of smoke rises from each lamp. The smell is familiar. Warm oil. Burned linen. A hint of soot. Soon only a handful of lamps remain burning inside the deeper halls where sunlight cannot yet reach. The temple changes once again. It no longer belongs to the night. Now it prepares itself for the day. Servants begin arriving through side entrances. They carry fresh water in clay jars balanced across wooden poles. The quiet splash of water echoes through the courtyards. One servant smiles when she sees the lamplighter. You have kept everything bright. He inclines his head. The sun is ready to help now. She laughs gently. It always arrives just when you finish. It has good timing. She continues on her way. Soon another worker enters carrying bundles of clean linen. Behind him comes a gardener with woven baskets filled with freshly cut flowers gathered before dawn. Their sweet fragrance drifts through the cool morning air. The temple begins filling with the peaceful sounds of another ordinary day. Brooms sweep. Doors open. Water pours into stone basins. Voices remain low. No one rushes. There is time. There has always been time. The lamplighter returns to the storage room one last time before leaving. He places the nearly empty oil vessel upon its shelf. Nearby waits a full jar that will become his companion when evening returns. He runs his hand gently across its smooth clay surface. Not today. Later. Everything has its proper hour. He folds several clean cloths and places them neatly beside the bundles of fresh wicks. His tools return to their usual places. Nothing is left scattered. He has always believed that beginning tomorrow's work starts by finishing today's carefully. The storage room grows brighter as sunlight reaches its doorway. Dust floating through the air shines briefly before settling once more. The lamplighter looks around quietly. Everything is ready. He closes the wooden door behind him. Outside, the temple courtyard has become fully awake. A pair of temple cats stretches lazily in the warmth of the first sunlight. One yawns enormously before curling back into a comfortable patch of light. The other begins its morning patrol among the storage buildings, as though it too has important duties waiting. The lamplighter smiles. Every creature seems to have its own routine. Even the smallest among them. He walks toward the temple gate. The great wooden doors slowly begin to open. Their heavy hinges groan softly after the long night. Morning light pours across the stone entrance. Outside, the streets are no longer empty. Merchants carry baskets toward the market. Children hurry beside their parents. Fishermen return from the earliest trip upon the Nile. A potter balances fresh clay across a donkey's back. The city has awakened once again. The lamplighter steps through the gateway into the fresh morning air. His shoulders feel lighter now. His work for the night has ended. Ahead lies the familiar walk home through streets that are only beginning their day's gentle rhythm, while behind him the temple stands quietly in the growing sunlight, its lamps resting peacefully after guiding another long, calm night through the ancient heart of Egypt. The morning has fully awakened. Sunlight now reaches across the rooftops of the city, warming the mud-brick walls that only a short while ago had rested beneath the cool touch of the night. The sky above the Nile is clear, washed with the gentle blue that comes after dawn has quietly settled into day. The stars have disappeared from sight, though the lamplighter knows they are still there, waiting patiently for evening to return. He walks home at an easy pace. There is no reason to hurry. The busiest part of his work has ended, and another group of workers has begun theirs. The streets slowly fill around him. A donkey pulls a small wooden cart loaded with empty baskets. Its hooves strike the packed earth with a slow, familiar rhythm. Behind it walks an elderly farmer carrying a wooden hoe across his shoulder. His linen tunic has already gathered a little dust. He raises a hand in greeting. The lamplighter answers with a quiet nod. Neither man stops. Both understand that the morning carries each of them toward the work waiting ahead. The marketplace is only beginning to take shape. Merchants spread woven mats upon the ground before arranging their goods with careful hands. Clay bowls are placed in neat rows. Bundles of onions stand beside baskets of figs. Fresh herbs release their fragrance into the warming air. A woman carefully stacks round loaves of bread while another arranges dates in small woven trays. Everything is done slowly. No one rushes to finish before another. The market wakes the same way the sun rises. Little by little. The lamplighter passes the baker whose oven had scented the air before dawn. Now the first customers have arrived. Warm loaves are lifted from the clay oven with long wooden paddles. Steam escapes as they are placed upon linen cloth. The smell fills the street. Fresh grain. Warm crust. A faint sweetness from the flour. The baker notices the lamplighter. You have been awake all night. I have. You should carry fresh bread home. The baker breaks a small loaf from the newest batch. Its crust is crisp, but the inside remains soft and warm. The lamplighter accepts it with both hands. I will return the kindness. The baker smiles. You already do. The lamplighter understands. The baker rises before dawn. The lamplighter keeps watch through the night. Each serves the other without needing to speak of it often. He continues walking with the warm loaf wrapped inside a clean linen cloth. The heat passes gently into his hands. It feels comforting after the coolness of the temple stone. Ahead, children begin gathering near an open courtyard where an elderly teacher prepares for the morning lesson. Each child carries a small writing board or a bundle of reeds. Some chatter quietly. Others rub sleep from their eyes. The teacher smiles patiently as they arrive one by one. Learning also follows a daily rhythm. The lamplighter remembers teaching his own son to trim a practice wick many years ago. The boy had been eager. Too eager. He cut the wick far too short. The little flame disappeared almost immediately. The child looked disappointed. The lamplighter had simply handed him another wick. Again. The second one lasted longer. The third burned steadily. Some lessons cannot be explained. They must be repeated until the hands understand. He smiles at the memory. The streets become narrower as he leaves the marketplace behind. Homes stand close together here. Flat roofs catch the growing sunlight. Women hang freshly washed linen where the morning breeze can dry it. The white cloth moves gently above the streets like quiet sails. A little girl sits beside her grandmother, helping separate lentils from small pebbles gathered during harvesting. Tiny fingers work carefully. The grandmother does not hurry her. Good work takes the time it asks for. A dog sleeps beside the doorway. One ear lifts as the lamplighter passes. Then it settles again. The neighborhood knows him well. He has walked these streets at every hour. Sometimes before sunrise. Sometimes after midnight. Sometimes beneath the brightest summer moon. The houses themselves seem almost familiar companions. He knows which doorway catches the first morning light. He knows which courtyard stays cool longest during the afternoon. He knows where jasmine grows beside a wall, filling the evening air with a soft fragrance during certain seasons. Small details become part of a person's life after enough years. He reaches a public well where several women draw water. The rope creaks softly as another clay jar rises from the darkness below. The water catches the sunlight for just a moment before disappearing into waiting vessels. One woman smiles. Your night was peaceful. It was. No strong winds. Only a gentle breeze. That is good. She lowers another empty jar into the well. Peaceful weather means steadier flames. Steadier flames mean fewer worries. Even people whose work has little to do with lamps understand such things. The lamplighter continues toward his neighborhood. Palm trees stand quietly beside the road. Their shadows remain short in the early morning light. A flock of small birds rises suddenly from the ground, circles once above the houses, and settles again near a patch of scattered grain. Their wings make only the softest whisper. Soon he reaches the familiar lane leading to his home. The walls here are lower. Small gardens grow beside several houses. Green herbs push through the rich soil watered carefully each morning. A few young date palms stretch toward the sky. Children's footprints remain visible in yesterday's dust. The lamplighter slows even more. There is no need to arrive quickly. Home is patient. As he approaches, he hears quiet sounds drifting through the open doorway. The steady scrape of grain being ground. The gentle clink of clay bowls being stacked. A child humming softly while working. The sounds fill him with quiet contentment. He steps into the courtyard. His wife looks up from the grinding stone. The morning light falls across her face. She smiles before saying a single word. "You are home." "I am." She notices the warm loaf wrapped in linen. The baker was generous. He always is. She takes the bread and places it beside a basket already holding dates and onions. Their youngest child, still rubbing sleepy eyes, comes running across the courtyard. "You smelled like lamps before you came through the door." The lamplighter laughs quietly. "So your nose still remembers." The child nods proudly. It always knows. His older son enters carrying 2 filled water jars. He sets them down carefully. Everything went well. Everything burned as it should. The boy smiles. Good. There is satisfaction in hearing those words. No great adventure. No unexpected trouble. Simply another peaceful night completed. The lamplighter removes his sandals and places them beside the doorway. Fine desert dust falls from the leather onto the packed earth. His wife brings a small bowl of cool water. He washes his hands slowly. The scent of oil still lingers on his skin despite the water. It has become part of him over the years. He does not mind. His family does not mind either. To them, that scent means the temple remained bright through the night. Breakfast is simple. Fresh bread still warm from the oven. A little cheese. Dates. Onions. Cool water from the clay jar. The family eats together without hurry. Morning sunlight fills the courtyard. A breeze stirs the hanging linen overhead. The youngest child breaks off tiny pieces of bread for a pair of sparrows that have learned to visit each morning. The birds hop closer without fear. One crumb at a time. The lamplighter watches them. Small routines exist everywhere. Among birds. Among people. Along the river. Within the temple. Each quiet habit joins another until an ordinary day becomes something steady and peaceful. After the meal, his wife gathers the empty bowls. The older children leave to begin their own work. The courtyard grows quiet again. The lamplighter spreads a woven mat beneath the shaded side of the wall. The stone there remains pleasantly cool. He lies down slowly. His shoulders relax. His hands, which have tended hundreds of small flames through the long night, finally become still. Outside the courtyard, the city continues its gentle morning rhythm. The baker serves another customer. The fishermen sort fresh catches beside the Nile. The farmers walk toward green fields. The temple begins another busy day beneath the rising sun. And while the ancient world carries on with its calm and familiar labors, the lamplighter closes his eyes for a little while, letting the soft sounds of home, the distant murmur of the waking city, and the warm breeze from the river slowly carry him into the quiet rest he has earned before evening gently calls him back to the waiting lamps once again. The day continues without asking for attention. Beyond the shaded courtyard where the lamplighter rests, the city carries on in its quiet and familiar rhythm. Bread is baked in warm clay ovens. Water jars are filled beside the wells. Fishermen return from the river. Farmers tend the rich fields left fertile by the Nile. Children learn their first careful lessons. Scribes bend over fresh sheets of papyrus. Potters shape wet clay into vessels that will serve families for many years. The world moves gently onward. The lamplighter sleeps through the warmest hours of the afternoon, just as he has done for much of his life. His breathing is slow and even. The woven mat beneath him is simple, but familiar. A light breeze wanders through the open doorway, lifting the edge of a hanging linen cloth before letting it settle once again. Nearby, his wife quietly continues her own work. She knows the rhythm of his days as well as he does. There is no need to wake him. Evening will come in its own time. The sun crosses slowly above the valley. Its bright light warms the stone temples, the mud-brick homes, the green fields, and the calm waters of the Nile. Shadows lengthen little by little. The great river continues its timeless journey, just as it did before the first temples were built, and just as it will long after today's footsteps have disappeared. Nothing hurries. Nothing needs to. As the afternoon gently softens toward evening, the city begins preparing for another quiet night. Cooking fires are lit once again. Fresh bread fills the air with its comforting scent. Children return home with dusty sandals. Donkeys find their familiar places beside simple shelters. Birds settle into the branches of sycamore trees. The first stars wait patiently beyond the bright blue sky, unseen for now but never truly gone. Inside his home, the lamplighter slowly opens his eyes. There is no alarm. No loud sound. Only the gentle feeling that another evening is drawing near. He sits for a moment, listening. The familiar sounds of home greet him. The quiet voices of his family. The soft rustle of linen. The breeze moving through the courtyard. A clay jar being lifted for fresh water. He smiles. Another night waits. Another peaceful walk through familiar streets. Another careful hand reaching for waiting lamps. Another quiet conversation with darkness and light. His life has never been filled with grand adventures. Few songs will be written about him. Few stones will carry his name. Yet every evening, without seeking praise, he has helped others find their way through the night. His footsteps have become part of the temple. His careful hands have become part of its gentle rhythm. His patience has quietly lived inside every steady flame. Perhaps that is enough. Perhaps it has always been enough. The sun lowers once more toward the western horizon. Golden light washes across the temple columns. The Nile glows like polished bronze beneath the evening sky. The first cool breeze crosses the water and slips through the ancient streets. Somewhere, a baker prepares tomorrow's dough. A fisherman folds his nets. A mother calls her children home. A temple cat stretches awake for another night of silent wandering. And somewhere nearby, a lamp waits quietly in the growing twilight, knowing that familiar footsteps will soon arrive. The sky deepens. The first evening star appears. The river grows still. The reeds whisper softly. The warm desert wind becomes gentle. One by one, the sounds of the ancient city grow quieter. Voices fade into peaceful murmurs. Footsteps become fewer. The world settles. The Nile continues flowing beneath the stars, unhurried and endless. The lamps glow with calm golden light. The moon rises slowly above the quiet valley. The temple rests. The city rests. The river rests in its own endless motion. And as the ancient night wraps itself gently around the land once more, every soft flame, every quiet breeze, every distant ripple upon the water, and every peaceful breath become part of the same timeless silence, carrying the old world onward, softly, steadily, and peacefully, into the stillness of another Egyptian night.